Alright guys, so here we have a quote from Inspector Gould explaining to Mr. Birling that he has the power to change people's lives for the positive, and he must use that power responsibly to not just benefit himself, but benefit all people. Public men, Mr. Birling, have responsibilities as well as privileges. Mr. Birling is a public man. Men had authority. It was a patriarchal society, and indeed it was a very small group of men who really ruled society in 1912. It was predominantly the upper classes. Parliament was pretty much run by upper class men. Few elected officials from anything further down the class system. Mr. Birling wasn't upper class, but he desperately wanted to be because, of course, he wanted power. He was, however, Lord Mayor and heavily involved in politics. So even if he wasn't upper class, he wanted to be a public man. He wanted to be someone with power, even if it was only local power in the town of Bromley. We then have Mr. Birling. Mr. Birling is a symbol for the men like him that ruled a patriarchal society. This isn't simply about Mr. Birling, is it? The inspector is talking about all men like him, the wealthiest in society. Indeed, it was only the wealthiest in society, those men that owned property at this point, that were still allowed to vote. We're probably aware that women were not allowed to vote in 1912, but it's less commonly known that quite a lot of men weren't either. Mr. Birling represents the small, upper class, middle class society that owned property and had power. And these had responsibility as well as privileges. This is a juxtaposition of these two words, where Priestley believes men involved in politics should serve the public and make society better for all. Instead, he strongly felt that many just used their power to improve their own lives. And indeed, there is much historical evidence to suggest that these men at the top of society, involved in politics and involved in powerful positions, often just lined their own pockets and did little to help the communities they supposedly served. Now, there's a bit more in the context box down the bottom there if you're interested in understanding some of the context around politics in 1912 and onwards. We've also obviously got some link quotations there from Gould and a juxtaposing quote from Birling to show their different opposing views.